Would you like to sell your business fast, efficiently, and for top dollar? Most people would. Well, today I'm going to share 10 ways you can successfully sell your business. Number one, set a reasonable price. Nobody's going to be interested in a heavily inflated price on a business. If we use a real estate example, let's take a neighborhood that has 5 homes for sale. 4 of those homes are right in the range of 350 to 400,000, but there's a 5th house that's priced at $700,000. That home that's being listed at $700,000, it should have some pretty amazing features or something about it that makes it worth $700,000. But most likely, they have overpriced their home and they're not going to draw as much interest as the homes that are priced reasonably for that neighborhood. You want to do the same thing with your business. You want to make sure it's priced competitively, but you want to make sure it's not overpriced because that will detract from buyers and it'll just sit on the market. Nobody's going to be happy with a business that's not moving. Number two, carry on operations business as usual. It's very easy to get sidetracked during the process of selling a business. But the reality is you, as the business owner, need to stay very, very engaged. You need to make sure you're keeping happy customers. You need to make sure you're keeping happy employees, and you need to make sure you're continuing to maintain or grow revenues. Because eventually you will get to the closing table, and if things have dropped off a cliff since the beginning of the process, that's not going to be good, and that's how deals can fall apart. So stay involved, stay active, and by the time you get to the closing table, the business will only look better than when you started. Number three, engage experts to ensure confidentiality. Selling a business is a really big decision, and quite frankly, it can be detrimental if the word gets out, especially too early. You typically don't want your landlord knowing before he or she needs to know. You certainly don't want employees knowing in most cases, and you definitely don't want your competition to know. Let's say an employee found out that you were selling your business too soon. Well, most employees are going to develop a level of fear. They're going to feel like they might lose their job, and that's going to likely lead them to want to look for another job and leave. And that's not good because you need that employee during the business transaction process, and it's likely that the new buyer may want to keep those key employees on board after they buy the business. Number two, if you end up tipping off a competitor, they could use that to their advantage, and that could harm your revenues. And so maintaining confidentiality is critical. A good business broker is going to ensure that confidentiality is of utmost importance from the start to the finish. Number four, prepare for the sale well in advance. Again, selling a business can take months. And what you want to do early on is start putting together the different things that your team is going to need to help you sell. Things like tax returns for the last 3 years, profit and loss statements, any information or documents that are going to be necessary for either your business broker to list the business or for a buyer prospect to make a determination whether they want to buy or not is going to be critical. And the earlier you can put those documents together in a organized fashion, the better. Number five, diligently prepare information that a buyer may request. Again, the hope is that you get to a point where you have interested buyer prospects. And when you do, especially the right one, they're going to have questions about the business. They're going to want to know more. And the better you can prepare that information ahead of time, especially information for the confidential business review, the better. I always say the best defense is a good offense, and our offense in this case is the information and the business package. And again, when that looks really, really good, it just puts the buyer at ease that this business is rock solid and it gives them more reason to buy. Number six, achieve leverage through competitor competition. This, in most cases, can happen from just putting for sale a really solid business. When you list the business at the appropriate price and when you package it efficiently, it becomes very attractive on the market. And when a business is attractive, you attract a lot of buyer prospects. And the more buyer prospects you have, the higher your likelihood that you drive up competition and you ultimately drive up price. Number seven, be open-minded to alternative terms. A lot of business owners, when they go into the sale of a business, they have concrete decisions already made and certain parameters that they're just not going to budge from. And the reality is the sellers who go into these situations a little bit more open-minded typically have a better outcome at the end. At the end of the day, you need to make sure that not only you as the seller are happy and satisfied, but we need to make sure the buyer prospect has the same experience. Number 8, refrain from dominating during the negotiation. A negotiation is only successful if both parties have won in some way, shape, or form. And when you go into a negotiation super hard-headed, unwilling to make any sort of conciliations, that is sometimes what can actually end a deal. So going into it, willing to be flexible is one of the best ways you can ensure that both parties win. Number 9, keep time from dragging down the deal. A business transaction already takes anywhere from 8 to 12 months. It's already a long process. And if you add additional complexities and additional roadblocks into the mix, you only serve to delay the process even more. So being available for calls, not only from your business broker or from the buyer prospect, is a really good idea. And just being available so that the process can continue in a organized and continuous fashion. Number 10, be willing to stay involved. You are the biggest asset in this entire process. You are the wealth of knowledge. You're the one who knows the business inside and out, not only the financials, but how the operations run. You know your employees, you know your product or service, you know your customer. You know more than your business broker, and you know more than the buyer prospect. And both of those parties are really leaning on you to get the right information. Your business broker needs that information in order to help you actually sell the business. And the buyer prospect is going to need all of that information in order to make a decision if they want to spend their hard-earned money on your business. So staying involved is one of the best ways that you can ensure an amazing outcome at the end of the day.